Hello everyone, this is Kyle with my very late Elimination Chamber pay-per-view review. I'm like 4 or 5 days late, but I was working on Sunday and I was working for the next few days after that, so I was just really too busy to, just sit down and watch the pay-per-view, but I finally had the chance to do so, and better late than never. So yeah, the Elimination Chamber 2011. I think that they built up the pay-per-view alright. They had the 6 participants of Raw facing each other off, and you got to see, the Sheamus versus Morrison, that feud continuing, kind of. Punk versus Cena. Punk has like 3 wins over Cena now, which is awesome. I wish they have to have some matches, some pay-per-view matches this year. They have to. I'm hoping that Cena beats Miz at WrestleMania. For the WWE title, and they have their little feud, and then eventually it's Punk versus Cena in the summer months, especially at SummerSlam. I think that would draw really well, and it would be awesome matches. So anyway, yeah, so those 6 participants kind of facing each other, and then they had Miz versus Lawler. Miz did a really good job of putting himself over. Lawler, I thought, could have done a little bit of a better job, especially during his when he had his first in-ring promo with Miz. He kind of acted like a child, saying that, "Oh, you suck, shut up, you're a moron, nobody cares about you." I don't know, it's just like a 10-year-old could have said those kinds of things and threats, and I just would have wanted them to do something a little bit more than that. Then on the Smackdown side, you obviously have Alberto Del Rio going at it with Kingston, and they've been doing a very good job at making Alberto Del Rio look like a credible main event threat and Rumble winner. He's been on Raw and Smackdown both, so he's really getting a lot of airtime, which is good to build him up. The only weird thing though is that they had Dolph Ziggler versus Edge as basically the whole thing holding SmackDown together, other than Alberto Del Rio, for 3 weeks, and then you don't even have Dolph Ziggler at the pay-per-view. That's just weird booking to have put so much time and effort, especially this was main eventing SmackDown for the last 3 weeks. This was the biggest storyline other than Alberto Del Rio in SmackDown, and then you don't even have the other half of this storyline going into not even a cameo. He didn't even show up. It wouldn't have worked for the storyline, but it's just so weird to do that to him, unless Ziggler shows up at WrestleMania and has his epic comeback then, which would then make sense, because then it just gives more time for this to simmer down and build up. So if that's the case, then I get it, because WrestleMania is bigger and it gives a little bit more spark and surprise to WrestleMania, and I think that would really help Dolph Ziggler, because I think that a lot of people are worried that they only gave him a 1-day title reign, but they're going with something completely different with Ziggler. It's kind of like what they did with Daniel Bryan in the summer, where they fired him and then they brought him back at SummerSlam. We freaked out for that. So if they do something like that in a heel way, where he's saying on Twitter that he was fired, and that he's going to make an impact and spike up the ratings somewhere else, kind of making it seem as if he might go to TNA, and that he's actually had some bookings since he's been fired, and that he just wait 90 days from now when his contract does officially expire, so he can start wrestling for other companies. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, and I'm hoping that they do it correctly. So yeah. Oh, and obviously The Rock is back. I thought that was so awesome. I finished work, and then I went home and I put on Raw that day. I was watching the midnight version because I couldn't have made it for the earlier one. And it's almost 2 a.m. then, and I'm just lying in bed, and I'm like, oh, I hope it's The Rock, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up either, because I don't. He's said that he would do things a lot of times, and I thought that he was not going to show up, and then when he did, I just heard his music, or the beginning of his music, and it's if can you smell what The Rock is cooking? I just freaked out. I marked out so bad. I freaked out so much that I went into my brother's room and I woke him up, because he's only a casual fan, but he would have freaked out seeing this. I'm like, Tyler, check this out. And I turn on his TV, and then I just see the fuzzies, the white noise thing, because his cable for some reason was not connected. And I'm like, The Rock's back. And he's like, what? Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. What? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to my room and watch it now, because I was really freaking out and I didn't want to miss anything, so I run back to my room. But he eventually did watch the 20-minute promo on YouTube the next day, and he was impressed by it, and he was really happy with that. But yeah, The Rock back in WWE finally. I enjoyed he can talk so easily and get the crowd into it so easily. Like, the crowd was freaking out, not just for the initial pop, which they freaked out for, but you know, just the 20-minute promo, to have the audience listening to every word you say and reacting to it is power. Like, it's not like, I don't think anybody else really is as big as The Rock is in that way. Like, the guy is loaded with charisma. He's meant to be a professional wrestler. It's too bad he's going into movies, because he is exactly what sports entertainment needs. Because Hulk Hogan, yeah, sure, people freak out for him, but a lot of people hate him as well because he's not as good in the ring. He's not even close to being as good in the ring. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin was big, but The Rock just could cut a promo and have everyone really into it. It'd be interesting to see how much the fans actually react more to Stone Cold or The Rock, because I think that they're the two top guys that they've ever had. And here's hoping that John Cena or somebody else becomes just as big as The Rock. I don't think it's going to happen, because Cena would have already made it now, and too many people hate him already. So I think the only thing that might save him is him becoming like some kind of tweener or a heel, and busting out some new moves, which would be weird, because that's what everyone seems to have a problem with him, is that he doesn't do enough moves and he can't wrestle, even though he can, and he's better than Randy Orton, and they'll say that Randy Orton's awesome but not Cena. That's another debate that I think I'm building up quite a lot. It's like almost every video I say that Orton sucks and Cena's better than him, so this is my build towards that review or video. So anyway, yeah, now let's talk about the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, because I've been talking 7 minutes about other things. So we had Alberto Del Rio starting it off with Kofi Kingston, and I was really surprised by this match, because it was better than I wasn't expecting it to be bad, but it was like 3.5 stars good. It was better than expected, and it puts over and the crowd was really into this match, and I was surprised by that. I didn't expect them to be that into it, and it puts over Del Rio as, you know, he got a clean win over Kofi, and they have to make him look as strong as they can heading into WrestleMania, because he's only been around for a while and he's only beaten a few big names. Kofi's up there, so that kind of works. Then we had the Smackdown Elimination Chamber match, which was the match of the night and match of the year for me, even though I've only seen like WWE and a few Japan matches this year, so there's not a lot to compete against it. But yeah, I gave that 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. Sucks that Big Show was the surprise entrant, because I don't think anybody really cared about that. You know, Christian would have been cool to have, but he did something else instead. So yeah, Rey Mysterio and Edge did a really good job at the beginning of the match, in the middle of the match, and then at the end of the match. They had a lot of good reversals and some nice close finishes. And Drew McIntyre, though, is the guy that really surprised me, because his even facial expressions and his demeanor before he even got into the match were just so good. Like, the way he was looking at people as they walked down the ramp, and then like as he's slowly really wanting to get into that match, and the way he acted, like, he actually plays crazy pretty damn well. And I think that if he wins the Money in the Bank match this year at WrestleMania, or at the pay-per-view, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, I'd be fine with that. You know, last year I would have been totally against it, but I'm okay with it now, considering that they've pushed Del Rio and Sheamus already, and they were only around for a few months. Drew McIntyre's kind of earned his stripes, and I kind of like him now, so I'm okay with that. So that was 4 stars, and then we had Christian showing up to save Edge. So I'm really hoping that that's a triple threat match, because then it would just make it so much more entertaining for me. I know that Christian won't win there, but that kind of makes him look like a main event player, because he was in the Smackdown main event for the world title. It just can maybe give him a chance of winning the title later on this year, just for a few months even, which would be really awesome, because I'm a Christian mark. And then we had the tag title match of Santino and Kozlov versus the Corre. Those tag titles mean nothing now. I think that I only gave it like a 1.5 stars. I was really disappointed with that match. I didn't expect it to be good, but still really boring. And I think that they should have had a Daniel Bryan versus, I don't know, Tyson Kidd or friggin' Zack Ryder. Anyone would have been fine. Just having a Daniel Bryan match would just have got a few more people to buy the pay-per-view, because then you have your two Elimination Chamber matches. Those are going to always generally be pretty good. Then you have Alberto Del Rio versus Kofi Kingston. There's potential there too, and it was good. And then you have a Daniel Bryan match. That's like 4 matches that could produce really good stuff, and then you're going to have Miz and Lawler. So that's like 5 matches, and 4 of them are going to be either good to great. WWE, Vince, hire me. Triple H, whoever, just hire me just for a few weeks and see how it goes. Oh God, I'd love that. Booking WWE. The power that I would have. I'm wasting time. So that was a waste. As in, like, the match, not what I just said. It's still relevant. Now it's a waste. So then we had Miz versus Lawler, which was better than the Randy Orton versus Miz match from a few months, or from last month, because I give it about 2.5 stars. It's for a 61-year-old guy. Jerry Lawler did an alright job, and Miz won cleanly, so he looks kind of more credible, but not really, because I think that he really needed a few more big wins before going into WrestleMania, because Miz has been around for a while now, but he hasn't really beaten anybody really big other than Randy Orton, and both times he had help. So I know he's a heel, but you kind of want to make him look strong, and beating a guy that only wrestles once in a while isn't really going to do the trick. But still better than Randy Orton. I can't believe that Jerry Lawler did a better match than Randy Orton against The Miz. It's hilarious, and that's just proof that Randy Orton sucks. So yeah, that's 2.5 stars. Then we had the Raw Elimination Chamber match, and I was really into this. Not just because that I knew Punk was in it, but I knew that John Morrison's in there, and I think that I thought that they were going to build up the CM Punk and Randy Orton feud nicely, and they did, because they started off the match with Sheamus and John Morrison, and I like that because they really have chemistry from the past few months that they've been feuding, so they know how to work a good match. And then they had Randy Orton come in, he kind of slowed it down, and they had Punk almost come in, and then he got eliminated, and I freaked out. I was so upset. I almost turned off my pay-per-view right then, because I was just so upset that they screwed over Punk again like that, and I hate it when they do that. It's kind of like what they did with last year when he was in the Royal Rumble and Triple H came in and just destroyed him. It's, Punk was doing fine by himself, and they should have kept it like that. But anyway, what they did is they had the general manager, his instant messenger thing went on, and I almost freaked out more so then than when Christian showed up, or even I freaked out more when The Rock showed up on Raw, but I pretty much freaked out when I heard that. I was just so happy the general manager was going to show up, and he's going to be back into the match, and then he eventually eliminates Randy Orton. And I was just so happy then. Punk's finally getting a little bit of a push, and he really looked good in the match. Like, John Morrison and CM Punk looked the best. Obviously Cena won, and he looked alright too. Sheamus looked pretty good. Randy Orton looked alright, but he, out of those 5 guys that I mentioned, he probably looked the weakest. And then obviously R-Truth looked like a complete jobber, and he should not have been in the match at all, because he was in there for like a minute, and then he got destroyed. And it wasn't even because his pod didn't let him out. He's not meant to be in the main event scene. So I give that about 3 3/4. I think it could have been a bit better if the crowd would have been into it. It's just like there was too many slow moments, but still a good match, 3 3/4. So I give this pay-per-view about 7.5 out of 10. Really good stuff. and I shall talk to you later. Goodbye, subscribe, bye-bye.